G'day, and welcome back to the Last Lines of Noobs and Men. I'm Sean. We're here with another painting video, but this time it is a group collab with some of my favourite MESBG YouTube channels. Some that do bat reps, some that do hobby, and so on. So I messaged a fair few, so the likes of W.A.R.G, jMacc, WindRush, and a couple of others to join in basically helping me to paint my KHAND. I've had a warband of 9-10 Khandish lads sitting on my desk for months, staring at me, wishing for a lick of paint, and I just have never had that motivation to get around to doing them. And so the idea here is that we're all going to paint up a warband, some all on foot, some in chariots, some on horses, some mixture of the two, in our preferred paint scheme, and then we're all going to upload the videos hopefully around about the same time. Please head down below, check out all these wonderful channels that participated in this little group collab thing, and send them our love. Go and tell them who sent you, and make sure you like, subscribe, and do all that stuff for them, because I tell you what, from some of the stuff I've seen, looks absolutely incredible. Don't mind the change of clothing when the video properly starts after this intro, because I filmed the whole video a couple of weeks ago, and DaVinci Resolve decided to delete the first like 4 minutes of the video, so I've had to refilm a few things, and the intro was part of that. Go and check out everyone else's videos. As I said, links for their videos, channels, and everything else down in the description below. They should all be up around about the same time. Let's go. So I started off priming the model with a zenithal spray. I went with a black and then a white over the top of that, though you will notice that some of the lads might have a bit of a bluish undertone, and that's because I ran out of black halfway through this process. So it is what it is. Now I do use the zenithal priming, not necessarily to help with the colouring as some people using the slap chop method might, but just because I'm a blind fuck and I want to see where the details are. That's basically it really for me. Now one of the most important parts of painting an army or a warband like me and the lads are doing is figuring out what your colour scheme is going to be. Now I painted up a Khandish king maybe about a year and a half ago. I called him my Candy KHAND King. So I'm going to be following that scheme, and as you would have seen, it is a mint and pink colour scheme. So I've whipped out my trusty notebook, which has all the colour schemes of all the armies I've previously done. Now this is something I definitely highly recommend, as well, if you're forgetful like me, you forget colour schemes and how you painted a model, and then your armies look really out of whack. So definitely highly recommend getting one of these. Now the base coating is a simple step, but one that I despise so much. I personally really enjoy the highlighting steps. I think that's just because you start to see everything come together. But so we start off our base coating with Emperor's Children pink, I believe it's called from memory, and that's going to go on all the armor of the model. So on your helmets, that's going to go on the chest, and then that will show up on the banner as well. Now the chieftain does have a few little bits of extra armor on his arms and on his thighs, so you're just going to have to keep that in mind. After the pink base, we dived into Cabalite Green, which is a nice aquamarine kind of colour, and this goes over all the tunics from neck down, really. So basically, the 70% of the model. Whoop. After the aquamarine is down, you're going to search for the sash, which you'll find around Old Mate's hip, and you're going to dive back in with the Emperor's Children green. I say you, this is my thing. I dived back in with the Emperor Children pink and just picked out that slash, which goes all the way around him and covered his crutch a little bit. Next up is the skin dermis, whatever it's called. So I dived in with the base coat of Bugman's Glow, which it's got to be my favorite skin tone for a Caucasian-y look. It just works well. It gives you a nice ruddy but also a nice dark layer to start with, and I personally like those dark up into light kind of things. Now there's not much silver on the model, but where there is silver, there is the axe heads of all the chaps. So I dived in with what is my favorite bloody metallic color now, and that's Scale 75's black metal. My mate showed it to me. It took me 6 months to find a shop that fucking stocked it, but once I did, I just can't believe how good it is. The coverage on that thing is sensational. We then hit the browns. So Mornfang Brown was my next one, which I used for the banner pole on the back of the lad. I use it for the quiver of all the lads that have bows. So there's the chieftain there, and then there's the 3 other regular bow boys. Tucked it onto their boots, which are knee-high boots, and it also jumps onto the chin strap. The next brown is Rhinoxide, so it's a really nice dark brown. The Rhinoxide goes onto the bow shaft, the shaft of the arrows, his shaft. For the bowmen, they've got their little vambracey thing. Yeah, just all those little extra spots. Finally got Balthasar Gold for the base coats. Now I forgot to film this, so that's just going to go onto the crest of their helmets. On the neck guard of the helmet, there's little studs, so it's going to show up there. The quivers of the bow lads, they got a little sun on there, so I just did that. Just filling out these little extra spots. At the very top of the banner as well, that also gets a little bit of gold from me. Next is the wash stage. Now, I usually like to do selective washes. I'll sit there and I'll pick out 4 or 5 different washes that match that color. So normally the pink would get Caribou Crimson, the minty green Aquamarine would get a green wash, the browns Agrax, and so on and so on. But I decided not to do that. I decided to just get Old Faithful Agrax and just slap it onto the models, making sure there isn't too much pooling, still trying to do it properly, but yet just soaking them in Agrax. Now we're moving on to the highlights, which, as mentioned before, is my favorite stage of painting. So we're going to start off with that aquamarine mintish tunic that we started off with using the Cabalite green. Now I go over that again with a base of that Cabalite green, just tidying that wash up, leaving the wash in the recesses and just picking out all the folds. Moved on next to, what's this bad boy called? Cyberite green. Another just a beautiful color. It's one of my favorite color combos to use in terms of highlighting. I use it for my 40k models, 30k models. So once again, just following all of those folds, just trying to stay inside that Cabalite green that we left down. Next up, and finally for the highlight, is Gauss Blaster. Gauss Blaster. So exactly the same as the CyberArk green. You just thin layers, laying it onto those folds, trying to stay within within the CyberArk green. And now, I mentioned this much earlier, I'm not looking to do any beautiful blending. I want this army to stand out from afar. So I'm looking for extreme contrast between layers. So once you look at the model up close, you will see each individual layer, but from a distance, you'll still see those layers, but it's going to look very striking, and that's my goal. The pink is the next highlight in this. So once again, I always tidy up with the original base layer. So Empress Children pink. I've just gone over, you know, the helmets and wherever that pink is available or needed to be. So I went in and I got some white and I mixed that in with the Emperor's Children, and I went over those highlights, and I did a lot of little dotting around in certain spots, especially on the armor, especially around the neck. I dotted in those highlights there, but similar to before, trying to keep it all within that previous highlight and showing that previous layer. Finally, with the highlighting stage, I just went back with all the base layers with all the other colours. So that's the Mornfang Brown, the Rhinox Hide, the black metal from scale 75, the Belfast Gold, which I think I mentioned, I can't remember. Just touching those spots up again, giving them a little bit of something. I didn't really care too much about the other colors. The one that I really wanted to focus on was that mint and pink. So just went back, nice and simple with every other color, Bugman, Rhinox, Mornfang, and just gave them some little highlights here and there, because no one really likes to look at base and wash. That's kind of shitty. Next up with the banners of these Khandish boys. Now, on my previous Khandish King, I had done a beautiful freehand dragon picture here, and a little Oriental tower. Am I going to get in trouble for saying Oriental? Probably, but them's the break. Yeah, so I attempted to do that on my Khandish boys. Very quickly realized after the first one, the banners are a lot smaller than the Khandish King by nearly half a size, which makes total sense, which made painting that dragon or that little Oriental tower quite a task. I also realized that I technically had to do 20 freehand things on a banner. And I'm a lazy prick, so I did not want to do that. So, forgetting to turn my camera on and to record it, I gave each individual model a different, almost like a different pattern on the back of their banner. Now, painted up exactly the same way as I highlighted the tunic and all the other pink and minty green stuff on the model. I just build up those layers and just kept going and going and going until I got to a point that I liked it. Once again, from a distance, they look quite nice. Up close, questionable, but that is exactly how I wanted this army to turn out. So I'm very chuffed with that. Finally, I just washed the model in Lamia Medium, which is just a paint without pigment. And now, so what this will do is it just matted the model down, and it really kind of ties all the previous colors and layers together, as it all has that one cohesive finish to the model. To end it all up with that model, or with the warband, I should be saying, I keep talking about one model, but for the warband, is I went and used Geek Gaming glue, mixed with, alongside Geek Gaming base ready material. I think it's called Scrublands. And literally I've just gone and applied the glue onto the base, used a really old brush to move that glue around, dunked said model into the bag and got it all on there. Got another old brush without glue because I've made this mistake before, and used that old brush to move off any of the basing material that got onto the model itself. And then the very, very final step of this is getting some dead looking grass and gluing that onto the bases. Well, I'm absolutely chuffed with the outcome of these models, from the basing to the color scheme, to how it was painted, how long it took me to paint. This was a fairly quick project. I think I finished it over the course of 2 days, maybe about 8 hours in total, maybe 10. I don't have a timer like jMacc, sorry, and I also don't know how to paint models within 2 minutes like jMacc. But no, very, very, very happy with how they've turned out. And this collab that me and the lads did was just a really, really good way for me to finish off, or to take a little nibble out of my pile of shame, which I'm hiding behind me there. Yeah, so it gave me that excuse to paint up these Khandish boys, and now they're done. And now I'm excited to expand on this small Khandish warband that I now have. So once again, thank you to all the lads for joining in and participating in this. There's some absolutely stunning paint jobs that the other boys have done. So go and check out their channels. Links, not in my crutch, in the description, where you'll be able to find all of their stuff. Go and watch it. Not only that, all this will have been released at the exact same time, so if you've just watched mine, surely you'll have enough time to go and watch all the other lads' stuff. They've done some stunning work, and I can't thank them enough for joining in. For next time, I'll see you when I see you. Oh wait, before you go, I forgot to mention, the grand reveal is coming up. Give it a watch.